Hey guys, Midnight doing a little bit of late night recording. I wanted to get this video out. I don't care if it's not the best quality. Don't care if it's a little bit rushed. I really wanted to get this video out here because I see a lot of people having trouble with things Marisa does, and I'm getting a lot of really common questions. So I'm just going to throw down a really quick anti-Marisa guide as someone who's been playing Marisa non-stop for the past 2 weeks. Having an absolute blast with this character. So without further ado, I'm just going to cut straight in. I think the first thing that I'm going to bring up that I see is the most important thing when it comes to fighting Marisa. And I'm going to save Gladius to last, because Gladius in and of itself is a fucking beast. It is what moves can and what moves can't you drive impact. And I'm going to start with the heavy buttons. First and foremost, these heavy buttons, whether they're uncharged or charged, if you press it early enough, you'll get a punish counter, right? Like if you're just going to swing it in and then not going to cancel, you're going to get a punish counter unless if you hit a button that recovers quick enough to basically recover in time, and then they'd be able to DI you back, right? So you need to be hitting it when you, like, say, see this move charging up, then you react to it, you punish counter it. Same with the target combo as well. If you do it quick enough against the target combo, theoretically you can also punish counter this move. But obviously, do be careful doing that at the same time. The other thing as well is all of the step kicks are pretty much, unless if you again leave it to the last frame to DI, which Marisa does have setups for, if I can remember which ones they are. Like that. Like where you're leaving it to the last frame. These can be DI'd as well in reaction. And the other one is Superman punches as well. Unless if you leave it again to the last frame, which there are setups for Marisa. Otherwise, just seeing it being thrown out in neutral, you should be able to DI this move back as well. But yeah, again, if you're being slow, be really careful with it. Please excuse me, I've also been very sick the last few days. Now, the big caveat to this is the EX specials. All carry armor break, including Gladius, which we will eventually get to as well. We might actually get to that now, because Gladius, it is very important to consider something about Gladius, all versions of Gladius, and regular stance. And that is, Marisa's armor doesn't cover her entire body, but it isn't hard-coded to only lose to lows. And I've got a really good example of this here, right? Now, Marisa's armor, basically, if I get my mouse, it starts at around the knee and goes up to the top of her head, right? So it is almost full body armor. It's pretty consistent, right? However, down in this lower half region here, she doesn't have armor on Gladius, and she doesn't have armor on her stance as well. And this is really important in order for you to decide how you want to go about attacking Marisa. And also defending against Marisa too. So I set up a little scenario earlier, just having a little play around with it. If you try and counter poke against Gladius, it is very easy for her to just snuff you straight back, okay? Like, this move is very, very good at dealing with shit. One thing I'll point out about Gladius is that the rock, paper, scissors is basically, if she does uncharged Gladius she's free to the drive impact. However, all charged versions and all versions while charging have armor. And anytime she absorbs a DI through Gladius, it is a guaranteed charge Gladius, which is about 2,700 to 3,000 damage. Especially on punish counter, 2,640. That's still ridiculous, right? Like, this is not something that you really want to be hit with. It's for free. I'm telling you right now, it's for free. Especially EX Gladius. EX Gladius is like frame 1, so it is very, very strong in that aspect. However, dealing with Charge Gladius, there are a few ways to go about it, and I'm going to end up at the best solution I have for everyone. Like, the safest, most consistent, best solution for everyone. Now, when it comes to Gladius, I think that the best way is figure out what button can safely hit her legs very quickly, and keep an eye on the spacing and opt for that when you can see it. So up close, as we saw earlier, light kick kind of got snuffed, but let's say Marisa's playing a little bit further out. You see what I mean by it's not a low, but it's hitting her leg, right? That's something to take a note of as well. Especially like if you play Cammy and you know you can dive kick, if you are really good at aiming dive kicks at the legs, this is why I brought up this as well. Marisa's, like, I have a bad habit of using this as an anti-air when I'm in a panic situation. If you can aim attacks to hit her in her legs, this will not save her. The only way she can save herself from that is EX, which is the only move she has in her entire kit that has full body armor. There's no other move other than this one that has full body armor in her kit. Nothing. Right? Very important. The second alternative is to play the rock, paper, scissors with the Gladius, okay? Uncharged Gladius loses to drive impact. Charged Gladius loses to jumping. You can jump charge Gladius if you make that read. However, Uncharged Gladius hits you clean in the face. You hold up forward and she reads that. She will just take your head clean off. She will just take your head clean off for not respecting Uncharged Gladius, right? So jumping will beat, say, charge, but jumping will not beat uncharged. But then the eye beats this, but then charging it beats the eye. Okay? The other alternative to dealing with Gladius, and I'm going to take off Crouch Mean Kick for this, is to... Where's OD? Okay, I need to clarify before I actually show that. If you have a multi-hitting DP, like Ken, Blanca, who else is multi-hitting EXDPs? Ryu has 2 hits. You need to lab, and I'm saying lab, you need to lab specifically how your DPs interact with Gladius. Ken's will win 100% of the time because Ken's DP is really, really strong like that. And it has multiple hits, goes really far forward, super strong. If he sees this, Ken can win for free by just doing EXDP. If you are a character that has a DP with 2 hits, you need to lab the interactions because there's a very big difference between a DP hitting at this distance, a DP where, let's say, only 1 hit hits you at this distance, and then if she uses EX, which EX has 2 hits of armor and is frame 1 upon activation. So if your character has 2 hits of DP, you need to be careful about if Marisa does decide to do this, because then if this happens to you, you just ate shit for trying to fight back against a Gladius. It's pretty dangerous. Would not really recommend the EXDP, which comes to my most recommended option against Gladius. I cannot recommend this option enough. Because once you start charging Gladius, as a Marisa player, there is nothing I can do about this. And the last option is parry. Now, excuse me. What's really important about parry is the fact that parry can be held, right? Because Marisa has multiple variances in timing, not only because she can hold it, but because she can let go at any point while holding it. It has a charged endpoint, but also the different versions all have different startups and charge times to them. So just because you can perfect parry this, doesn't mean you'll perfect parry this. And doesn't mean that you won't hold and then eat the plus frames as well. Okay? So just doing it at the timing of the first frame, and then if they charge it, you just hold it until the move connects, and then if you so desire, you can give back a punish counter to knock her away from you, if you so choose. Right? Being careful with how it's set up. As you can see there, that was actually a setup I could punish. But let's say the most common scenario, which I see everyone do, including myself, because I get away with this as well. Oh, excuse me, moi. Is this, right? And then stealing plus frames, blow me away, right? Same with the parry basically got Cammy back the rest of the drive bar that she had lost blocking. And then, you know, she gets to fight back as well if she happens to parry, because it's reduced pushback. So it's harder for Marisa to create spacing traps out of Gladius here as well. And then obviously if you time it right, you get perfect parry. If not, you're out to like this kind of neutral distance again. But why this is so important as well is that Marisa does an obscene amount of drive chip damage on block. Right. Simple sequence like that ripped 3 bars out of you. Like obviously there's gaps and stuff. You don't need to micromanage how I just did that block string, but you get the idea, right? She hurts. She does a lot of drive damage. To be able to go ahead and say, no, I'm not gonna hold all of this. You can maintain your drive gauge. And that is super important against Marisa, where let's say you are playing a character like Cammy, who relies on this a lot to get offensive started and be able to convert off pokes. If you've already taken 3 bars worth of drive chip, just blocking, and then you get your opportunity, you will burn yourself out. And then if you burn out fast against Marisa, Marisa will bury you. Marisa will bloody bury you into the dirt, and you don't want that. That is not good. Not fun at all. So do keep that in mind when fighting against Gladius. I think personally, parry is the best way to deal with this. Now, when it comes to, just to quickly brush over the other special moves, the step kick, this is -6, this is -4, this is also -4, oh, -3, sorry. But with 4 active frames, it means that this, at the very tip end of its of its active frames, you can make it 0 on block. Not that it really matters. This is also -6. So if you happen to have a button where, say, Marisa accidentally misspaces herself, get punishes here. I don't see enough people doing it. I get away with it a lot. Like a lot. It's kind of silly. Same with this move as well. Considering that it's a 29 frame startup, it's pretty slow as well. I find it pretty susceptible to being parried / drive impacted. Considerably so. Now, Superman Punch. A lot of people, because you might say, oh, off this target combo, I'm just going to hit a low. This was the other part of the RPS. It was just like, okay, let's say I'm getting counter-poked by Crouch Medium Kick. Superman Punch blows through lows, okay? And especially closer to the corner. This is something you don't want to get hit by. This shit sucks to get hit by. You don't want to get hit by it. And it also lets Marisa maintain block pressure as well by being plus on block. Granted, it has pushback, but that makes it arguably scarier, as it's harder for you to find the right button to poke with afterwards. And she can just bully you with it. And just look at all the drive damage being done, right? Right, unsure. Oh no, come back in. And yeah, it sucks. So, how do we do a Superman Punch? Well, let's actually look at the frames real quick. The armor only happens after the startup at a very specific point in time, and then susceptible to being counter hit out of the air until it happens, and then recovery. So, even on the EX version, there's still not a lot of armor here. This is not a big window of armor. This is being, basically, if I'm trying to armor something as Marisa, I'm not really reacting, I'm throwing this as a read. This is a read move. So really, this is otherwise being used as a pressure reset. So then what are your options? Oh. Right, just hit her. Hit her out of the air. Again, if your character has a DP, now, if your character has a DP, now this is really strong. Unlike Gladius, now that there's only a certain window of armor before they can get hit out, EXDPs on reaction against Superman Punch are really, really strong. They are always really good tools to use against Superman Punch. At the same time, you can also just poke it out of the air. If your reactions are slow, maybe refrain from, but otherwise do take note that you can smack Marisa out of the air for trying that. Now, I should be able to brush over this in like 2 seconds. This has the same upper body armor. This is full body armor, but doesn't last as long either. And it's much easier to time catching the 29 frames of recovery with the punish counter as well. So keep that in mind, that throws are the best thing against this as well, because if she tries to wake up with this and you throw her, you've just dealt her 3 bars of drive damage. And Marisa is very, very weak to throws, because Marisa is one of the very few characters in this game that cannot backdash in the corner against the throw and get a punish. I'll see if I can show that. Okay, this is post watch back footage. We're now in editing phase. I'm gonna skip the last 5 minutes of my footage because I kind of rambled really hard, and nothing else I say after this was really too prevalent to the video. So basically, I'm just going to skip straight to the end from here. Thanks for understanding. It's really late. I'm trying to get this done. Bye-bye. Thank you for listening to me ramble on for the last little bit. I kind of like spiraled out. It's pretty late, but I really wanted to make this. This is something that I've seen so many people get caught up on. So if you stayed this long, thank you. Really appreciate it. And hopefully this helps you guys win your games against Marisa, because she is very scary. Alright. Good luck out there on the streets.